I would love to look at some blueprints. So, I mean, gimme.
They're launching payloads for clandestine governments, and they're calling it like, can't see this one again.
They've done reusability, they're making a big rocket, they're investing in marine assets. The only thing left that Peter Beck said they won't do, that they haven't done yet, is...
Good morning. How's everything up in the sky?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tomorrow. My name is Space Mike, and we have a awesome cast with us today to talk about some really exciting developments that have happened this week. I am joined by Jared Head, our resident astronomer, Ryan Caton, thank you for being here, Ryan. And we also have Jamie Higginbotham, Photon Empress. Thank you so much for what you brought us this week. We're also joined by special guest Jack Beyer, who we're not going to take up all of his time, but is going to stick with us for a little bit to talk about
we're going to take up
Starship
all
for
of
a
his
while.
time.
Okay, you heard it here first, folks. You cool with that, Jack? Hope so.
This is what I signed up for.
All right. Oh my gosh, guys. Flight 10 was absolutely incredible. And unfortunately, because Jamie works at SpaceX, will not be able to join us for most of our commentary about it. But
Yeah.
someday we'll get the tell-all book in maybe 10, 20, 30 years, and we'll hear all about the incredible stuff that she knows about. In any case, guys, holy cow, this was incredible. And it feels like SpaceX is back on track and is finally able to get data for those different heat shield tile experiments that they were looking for. I mean, what an awesome success this was. Not only that, we were able to have the dummy Starlinks get deployed and see that system work, which I certainly was pretty confused about how it operated. But just all of that, including the Raptor relight test that they were finally able to achieve, it just finally feels like the Starship program is back on track and we can move forward with other goals. So first, let's go around first and talk with everybody about how I am still blown away by this. So how is everybody feeling? Do you think that things are going to be moving forward at a lightning pace from here? Or do you think that there's still some tests to go? But what were your initial thoughts, initial feelings of when this took off and as we saw those milestones? Ryan, I'd actually like to start with you, if that's all right.
I mean, just off the bat, it's great to finally have a V2 Starship do its job and get to the end successfully, right? It was a little bit sketchy with some of those flaps, some of those aft flaps, and that energetic event, I think I called it on commentary, in the engine bay. Maybe engine chill line got a little excited there. But yeah, despite all of those things, I mean, part of the ship literally blew up, yet it still made it all the way through to within 3 meters of its targeted splashdown point in the Indian Ocean. And this thing is 9 meters wide. So that's literally a third of the diameter of the vehicle in terms of accuracy, 2/3 of the way around the world. I think that's pretty impressive, especially for a vehicle of this scale, right? Going through re-entry, literally, changing its trajectory on the fly using its flaps. The one thing that worries me slightly is, yes, this was fantastic. Yes, they've got all of this data they need going forward. And yes, it's wonderful to see SpaceX get to this point. Incredible flight, beautiful flight, don't get me wrong. But there's only one Block 2 ship left. And that flight, fingers crossed, is going to be coming up shortly, maybe in a few weeks' time. But then after that, we go to V3, which is more upgrades on the ship and upgrades on the booster. Are we going to be getting into a similar scenario where it takes us 4 flights, 4 vehicles to get to a fully successful mission once again? Because we saw this year in January literally started with the first Block 2 flight, right? So it's taken SpaceX 8-9 months to get to this point, get to a fantastic point, don't get me wrong, and I was very excited, very happy with the outcomes of the flight this week, but I'm still a little bit nervous, I'm a little bit reserved because Block 3 is just 2 flights away. And I really don't want them to go through the exact same problems again, having to wait 4 flights to get to the point of splashdown, right? Because we really, Mars, Artemis, Starlink. We just want to get Starship going. Please please don't do it again. But yeah, that's where I currently sit. Beautiful flight, wonderful to see. Great to see the Starlink simulators deployed. Great to see re-entry data. Great to see them splash down essentially directly on target. Please keep going forwards. Please no more backwards. Please, fingers crossed. Please.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I do kind of agree with your concerns, but we'll address that in just a minute here. Jared, what were some of your thoughts about this, and any concerns from it, or do you feel like everything's going to be smooth sailing from here?
Well, first of all, I was just super excited to see that the dang thing worked finally, because that's sort of obviously been the concern since the beginning of the year. Oh, now here we are 8 months later. This is 8 months to the right, but of course in aerospace, our dance to the right, to the right. Right. That's kind of how things work, and it was really important that this flight works. And not necessarily just for all the data that gets gathered as well, but also for morale, because it was definitely known that it wasn't what we would call particularly high at SpaceX over the past couple of months, especially after we had our explosion at Massey's back in June. So yeah, that was not particularly great. But to see that that's now getting uplifted and people are feeling a lot better about the system as a whole, that's really, really great. Happy to see it. But as Ryan mentioned, we are now going to be moving on to version 3 at some point. And I don't want to necessarily say temper the expectations, but obviously understand we're still in a test program here, right? So we're still in data gathering mode. We're not in operational mode. This isn't the space shuttle where we're having to get it right out of the gate because we're putting people on it from right out of the gate. This is a little bit different in terms of this. This is more towards the classic profile of test flights and what you would expect out of them, which is something that may or may not have exactly been around for a very, very long time. So for a lot of people, myself included, very early on, until I realized, oh yeah, you dummy, this is how test programs used to work back in the day, and just not many people do it this way anymore. For a lot of people, it's very much been a shock to the system to watch this go down the way it has. I have a lot more confidence in version 3 because I think they've had all this time to figure things out. They've had a lot of lessons learned from version 2 that can then be integrated into the version 3 vehicle. That doesn't mean that hiccups and problems and possible explosions won't happen. But, historically, you have to kind of, work with what you got. And usually, your later versions of your vehicle that you're developing tend to be a bit better than what you started with, as long as at least you're going to be a successful company. And SpaceX hasn't shown us any reason to doubt themselves on that front with Starship. So we'll see what they do with it. But this was a great flight. They got a lot of data from a very critical phase of flight that they have not had data from before. So, the version 1 flights are great, but it wasn't necessarily the same tiles that are flying now. And the tiles are probably going to be the biggest challenge for Starship. It's just like Space Shuttle. What was old is new again, and the tiles are something to really be paid attention to, and also, at least for me, makes me the most nervous in terms of what could happen. I think they've got the propulsion figured out, the guidance, navigation, control, the other things like that. It's the tiles that always gives me pause. Even when I was covering shuttle back in the day, it was always the tiles that were giving everybody pause. But I do want to say, big shout out to the Starlink simulator that bumped its head on the way out of the little Pez dispenser there. Somebody online said that it reminded them of watching the stormtrooper bump their head during A New Hope. And now I can't unsee that, and it was pretty great to see that.
Hopefully that won't be we won't see more of that in the future. Couple things that we'll want to address, but before we get to that, because I want to do that as a group, Jack, let's hear some of your thoughts about this. I mean, you got to be there in person. You've been at pretty much all of these in person, so you've had a unique perspective on not just the launches, but the development of this as well. So, how are you feeling about this, the program as a whole? And do you feel like things are finally moving forward, or do you agree that there's still a lot of other tests and milestones before we even get to a partial operational status? What do you think?
So many feelings and thoughts. I like. Thank you for letting me go last. I always feel like I'm going first, and now I got to formulate some thoughts. Ryan was worried about future versions of ship having to go through the same teething problems, and of course everybody is.
Yeah.
But I think a lot about Falcon 9 and how they were able to upgrade Falcon 9 sort of seamlessly. And I know I say seamlessly because I'm an idiot on the outside and it was probably hell for them. But I mean that by like, they were able to keep launching Falcon 9s and then they would be like, oh, this one's full thrust. Oh, this one's Block 5. They upgraded the system while it was in use and it was fine. Yes, there was problems while they were working on, super chilling propellant, etc. Point being, they did it with Falcon 9. It's fine. It'll be fine. We just got to get some of them Falcon 9 magic over here, and we'll get the program humming along. Like, so that's my first thought. My second thought is this feels a lot like when Falcon 9 boosters were starting to almost land, but not quite land. Like, ship works. Ship works. Just get it all figured out. So I'm incredibly excited. Definitely a huge morale boost. Jared is absolutely correct. Huge morale boost. I don't like. I'm just a guy that points a camera, but it was really nice to have a launch that went really well and feels like things are back on track. Like after the catch, my gut feeling was, after the first booster catch, my gut feeling was like, oh, SpaceX is really going to mash the gas now. Like we're really about to see this program just start humming along and stuff's going to start, just going to be like dominoes. And then we had, 8-9 months of limbo. Please let it be dominoes again. And yeah,
Right?
I know. I feel good. I think we're gonna see this program do everything that it needs to do, and maybe there's some hiccups along the way, but that's just how life goes.
Yeah. Well, I just certainly agree with you guys that there's many things that still need to come, and I think that I'm on board with you that we should have some sort of partial operational status. Start launching Starlink missions and keep upgrading as we go with the program instead of having everything perfect before we even start missions. I don't think anyone is necessarily saying that everything has to be perfect first, but yeah, I also am concerned as well, Ryan, that we might see the same sort of birthing pains and hiccups and ghosts in the system that nobody is aware of yet, not even the folks at SpaceX when it comes to Block 3 and how those flights are going to go. It certainly uh, seems, I don't want to say that there's a pattern here, but it seems like pretty similar paths when it came to Block 1 and Block 2 of the first couple of flights don't really work out so well, but then have a phenomenal breakthrough success. So that's where it kind of feels like that we are here. Anyway, with the heat shield tiles, how crazy was it that we got to see those metallic heat shield tiles cause all of that rusting, all of that orange coloration during the land down or splashdown rather, and even the insulation on the spots where there was no heat shield tile and it was exposed. I mean, it just was a really wild sight. And unless those metallic heat shield tiles worked extremely well, I'm kind of hoping that they don't move forward with that. And reused starships look like, old 40-year-old rust buckets. And they've only been used once. But what do you guys think about that? I mean, it's going to be a long time before we know what the results are, if we ever do know. But do you think that they will continue to move forward with those, or are there going to be a whole bunch of other exotic heat shield experiments before they even decide on what they want to move forward with? I guess that's a kind of to everyone.
I mean, who knows? But the tiles definitely seem to be working better and better, and staying on better and better. The metallic tiles are very interesting. I have a stupid question to the question, which is like, did they know it was going to do the orange thing, and is that useful for like computational flow dynamic simulation comparison with what they're running on computers? Like, is that intentional that it did that, or is it just a cool side effect of testing a metallic tile and it's like, oopsie daisy? Or is it an accident, but also it's useful for the first? I don't know. It's very interesting. But who knows what Starship's heat shield ends up being? I could not have looked at a early Falcon 9 and told you. I'm sorry I keep going back to it, but I'm really just, we're in different parts of the programs, but I don't think I don't think I could have looked at an early Falcon 9 and told you what a Block 5 would look like. I mean, even the Black Interstage, I was like, ew. So I have a hard time looking at this heat shield and saying, what will it be in the future?
Great point about the possibility of them doing it on purpose for the studying fluid dynamics. I hadn't even considered that, so that's a real possibility.
Yeah.
Again, I think that's another one of those things that we probably won't know the answer to until years and years later, if we ever find out.
Yeah, I think you got to remember that if this material is coming off of it, it's going to oxidize and interacting with any other materials around it that it can do so. So things like those heat shield tiles are going to be interacting directly with the gaseous or now plasma state material that be coming off of those metallic tiles, and it's not just necessarily going to be around the specific tile either, because you could build up boundary layers that end up bleeding out all over the other places, and it's just it's a lot of different possibilities, and the hard part is that we're at the mercy uh, of guesstimation and speculation on our part until SpaceX actually says what it was. It's just all the best educated guesses that our minds can bring to the table. So yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in it
Yeah.
because orange is a favorite color, but also like just like that to me is very much the SpaceX way with their vehicles, right? They're just dirty because they're working vehicles. They're not these things that are pristine because this is the first time we've built it, and it's the first and only time.
It's like spacecraft in the Star Wars universe versus spacecraft in like 2001.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Also, by the way, everyone, we have Dave Avery here, one of our top contributors and supporters. Thank you for being here, Dave. Dave was also at the launch and has many great insights into the program, as well as spaceflight and engineering in general. So thank you, Dave, for being here and chatting with us today about this.
Oh, thanks for Jamie or whoever was egging me on to join the stream here in the chat. Yeah, it was an interesting launch. Probably as loud as any of them, maybe a little quieter because we didn't have any clouds overhead to echo off of. Spectacular launch. Spectacular booster return. Nice visible RUD, even from the ground level, not elevated cameras you could see over the horizon line, like NSF and some of the elevated cameras at the outpost. Yeah, it was a good crowd, and looks like SpaceX is back on track.
I always love when the explosions are actually planned instead of being an unplanned disassembly. So in this case, in both cases with the booster and the ship, I think we were all perfectly fine with seeing these ones explode. However,
Well, the other comment is the ship, we've talked about the orange. There was also, from above the orange, there was white to the tip, which supposedly was the gap filler being ablated, because the tip tiles on the top of the dome and down to where that metal tile was is the glued on tiles that have all the gap fillers between them. So that was supposedly the gap fillers being defilled.
Oh man, orange rockets are the best rockets. Yeah. It made me think of the meme that we've talked about so many times of like, wait, it's all SLS? Always has been.
The astronaut with the
Yeah. No, it's not SLS. But then again, maybe it's been the SLS replacement all along. Anyway, we'll get before I get sidetracked on that. What do we think? I would like to get everyone's predictions about what you think comes next. Ryan brought up a great point of how there's only one V2 booster and ship left. So my prediction is that most likely it's going to be another suborbital flight, testing out failure modes, testing out different heat shield materials, and getting as much data as they can to go into future designs. And then Flight 12 going to be another suborbital flight to test all those things out again for the new version of ship, version 3, and for the booster. And then after that, hopefully, if we don't have the same gremlins in the system, we'll be able to move forward. And somewhere between 13 to 15, we'll finally get that first orbital flight, fully orbital flight. And maybe they'll deploy some real Starlink version 3 satellites on the first orbital flight. Well, maybe not the first one, more likely probably the second one, but you never know. They might do that. And if everything goes well with the first and second orbital flights, on either of those, they might actually try to attempt the ship catch. So I'm looking forward to that. And I know that Elon has said that before, but I feel like 11 and 12 is pretty sure. Everything beyond that is all depends on what problems may come up with version 3. So I'd like to get everyone's predictions. Jared, let's go ahead and start with you. What do you think is next and the big next milestones that we're going to see? And will we even see one more flight this year?
I think we do have another flight. You know what? I'll be a little bold. I'm going to say that maybe we might have the first version 3 flight go this year as a nice little Christmas present to everybody. That would be pretty cool if we could see something like that. But that also might require some Herculean effort that could backfire. So. It is a wish of mine that I will do on a wishing star, but not necessarily something that I will demand from the highest mountaintop. But I think the next version 2 flight we're kind of gonna see the same thing. I would love to see them stress it even further on reentry. Like it was already a pretty tough reentry, but let's do hard reentry on ship 2. You know, if you're at the point now where you know what to do to get ship to atmospheric reentry to get the data, so let's do it. Let's get the roughest, toughest data that we can from it. You know, let's do those like absolute worst case scenarios and do it in flight. You know, let's do it. Just do it, I guess, is my overall attitude for that. But outside of that, I don't want to predict too far down the line, just because you know it's a lot of unknowns. You know, we all knew that version 2 was going to be a breeze to get through, and then version 3 was where the real gremlins were going to be at, right? So again, it's aerospace, baby. This is a tough world to work in.
Ryan, what do you think? What is your predictions for what's going to come next?
Well, I think I'm very optimistic on the next flight. I think they could do 4 weeks, maybe, but we'll just have to wait and see. So I'm thinking at a push, because they launched like right at the end of August, I think at a push the end of September could be in there, but we'll just have to wait and see. If not, if it's not the end of September, October, unless the ship blows up like ship 36 did, I think October is definitely the realistic option. If you asked me when will the first Block 3 fly earlier this year, I would have said before the end of the year. But unfortunately, because of all of the gremlins, all of the problems SpaceX has had to go through with Block 2, and the fact that they had a massive ship explosion that blocked off the massive test site for like 3 months, or a couple of months, I don't think it's really on the cards anymore, unfortunately, simply because SpaceX has had to wait so long to get that re-entry data, get that in-space data with the ship to kind of inform their changes for the next version. And also, they've had to wait to test the test articles for the new Super Heavy Block 3. We've seen that test tank, which has been at Massey's for God knows how long at this point. It was there when the ship blew up. And in the Star Factory as well, it looks like they're working on a new test tank for the forward part of the booster. Maybe there's also going to be a test tank for the mid part of the booster. We don't know at the moment. We're just going to have to wait and see. But it looks like for the Block 3 booster at least, SpaceX is really going to be putting those individual components through testing to make sure everything is just right before they actually fully assemble Booster 18, which is the first V3 Super Heavy booster. So putting all of that together into one pot and mixing it up, Q1 2026 is my current prediction for that flight, but it could easily slip because, of course, we're still waiting for a brand new launch pad to be completed as well. But there could also be an instance there where the launch pad team is moving at like a 75% rate just because they don't have to rush it and risk getting something wrong or risking, a RUD or something. So maybe the launch pad team is working a little bit slower because they don't have a vehicle to catch up to just yet. I don't know. Maybe that's un-SpaceX, but we'll just have to wait and see. So that's my current prediction. I'm not really willing to go any further than that because, cargo to Mars in 2022, am I right?
Hey, it's okay to have ambitious goals.
Yes.
Jack, what do you think?
I mean, I think it would, just to tag on what you just said, it's necessary to have ambitious goals. If you don't, then you just stagnate.
Yeah.
Big milestones, of course, yeah, like definitely going to see another flight very soon. That's going to be a big milestone. Jared, I love the idea of doing a really stressful reentry with it. Like, throw it as far up there as you can, like a real high parabola, like the kind of thing I do in Kerbal Space Program when I'm real bored, and I just throw all the solids together and see how fast I can yeet a capsule on a parabolic trajectory, and if it blows up or not on reentry. Do that with Starship, because like, what else is this version 2 going to be useful for?
That is not even kidding. That's literally what they did with the space shuttle, right? STS-1 was like a middle of the road reentry test, and then STS-2 with Joe Engel, which, by the way, he hand flew the reentry for that, did inputs for reentry.
Most legendary pilot ever.
One of the most badass things that a pilot has ever done. Literally flying shuttle on reentry with the hand controller. Okay, STS-2 was to stress Columbia and push it to the limit because he had flown X-15, so he knew what it felt like to have a vehicle on the limit like that. So so there's precedent for stressing a vehicle like that. So it's just,
that's so cool.
Please, not with people on board.
I'm all for that.
Right. And just like, I do want to see the first flight of Block 3. It'd be great if it was before the end of the year. I don't think it will be. I think that would require, what's the John Young quote? Repeated acts of God interspersed with continuous miracles or something like that. Like, that's just, I'm sorry. I don't see Block 3 launching by the end of the year. It'd be great if it did, but no. But that's going to be huge. And I think Airvale at some point in chat said that they want to see a rainbow starship. So ship catch. I think ultimately that's what is going to be the final piece to the puzzle. And when we see, because it's going to happen, when we see a ship hanging from those chopsticks for the very first time, the world will never be the same. A, because, Starship will be online. And B, because it's going to be so beautiful. Like the oxidation on the metal. Oh my God. Oh, let's go. So there's my answer.
I agree with that. Dave, do you have any other thoughts or predictions about what the short-term future is going to look like with Starship?
So two things. First, we have two boosters left. 15.2 and 17 are both available.
You're right.
Unfortunately, you only have one ship. And I had a chance to talk with some people from McGregor who were down to Starbase for their first sight of a launch. They had been at McGregor for some time and working on various things there. And they were basically expressing the opinion that they're a little panicked because they were expecting more reflights, and their timeline sort of had V3 and well into first quarter of next year. And so their production schedules and apparently also Hawthorne's production schedules are tooled to that timeline. So I don't think we're going to see a V3 launch until February or March. I just don't think the hardware is going to be there. I think there's going to be some Raptors missing up till that point. First V3 launch will probably be a repeat of the same profile that we have seen for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Ship up and down, a booster up and down, ship to the Indian Ocean. Because it's going to be a proving flight, it's going to be a first flight of a ship, first flight of a booster, all new interior, all new guts, all new engines, lots of things to go wrong, so lots of things to prove out. But everybody I talk to from various places and inside and outside of SpaceX is like, but the second flight next year could be a double catch. And that would be impressive.
That would be so cool. So
catch
awesome.
catch a ship on Tower 2, modify Tower 1 to catch a modern booster because the chopsticks are wrong for a Phase 3 booster. The pins are shorter height, so that they need to modify the catch rails to be compatible with a V3 booster. But if anything SpaceX can do, cutting torches and plasma cutters will handle that job, and SpaceX seems to have a fair amount of experience cutting up metal. So the other proposal sounds like 15.2 might be the next booster, assuming no problems discovered in the next couple of weeks, at which point 17 probably becomes scrap metal.
You really think that it's going to go that way? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but
I'm just telling you what the word on the street was.
Well, okay. That's totally fine. But man, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like 15 belongs in a museum or a permanent rocket garden display instead of being reused again and just scrapping 17. But then again, there might be a good technical reason for that. So I don't know.
12's the permanent one for the rocket garden. 12's getting spiffed up in Mega Bay as we speak.
Well, as long as we have one of the boosters that got caught, that's fine.
I mean, we lost 15.
15 in the rocket garden.
Yeah, we lost ship 15 already. I mean, that would be the one to put in the rocket garden, but oh well.
Yeah. It was also replicate what they did with Booster 14, because Booster 14 was reflown, and it's also the fact that it is flown hardware. They know how Booster 15 performs because they've literally sent it through a flight regime before. And we saw on this flight, brand new booster, brand new engines, one of them went out on ascent. So just saying, brand new hardware isn't always the best way to go. Sometimes it's nice to know how your booster will perform because you've literally flown it before on the exact same profile.
Yep.
Well, anything that we do want to see as a museum piece, speak up about it. Many years ago on this show, we discovered that there was a Falcon 1 that was just sitting in a parking lot, rusting away somewhere, and talked about how that was a crime and it deserves to be displayed. I'm not saying that we had anything to do with it, but maybe we happened to know somebody who could talk to the right people at SpaceX who suggested it. And lo and behold, whether or not we had anything to do with it or not, Falcon 1, instead of rusting away in a parking lot somewhere, got displayed in their small garden that they have at the Hawthorne facility. So any of these sort of historic pieces, speak up. Let SpaceX know we want to see this. We want this on display. Like, preserve this for posterity. And you never know, they might listen.
No, there was a day, I don't know what the occasion was, but I was in LA and I got a call, or I was on Discord or something, and somebody was like, "Hey, get to Hawthorne right now. They have a Falcon 1 sitting on its side underneath the landed booster display." And so I hauled butt down there and, shot through the glass like a plebeian. Yeah, that's really cool.
I feel like
forgot about that.
Yeah, I feel like it wasn't just us; it was all of social media. I mean, that all kind of came out around the same time, and I think everyone was on the same page of this belongs in a museum or to be
Didn't
on some sort of display. So yeah,
didn't they also have a Falcon 1 on the OG Starbase presentation where Elon was standing in front of the Starship? Wasn't there a Falcon 1 next to it?
Yeah,
I
the
think there
2019
was.
yeah,
one with Mark 1 or Mark what like the one that looks like it was like aluminium foil that had just been like wrapped
Yeah.
over this
yeah.
tube with flaps and it was all wrinkly and horrible and
Is that
Mark 2 is going to orbit.
is that all the
I
same
got it.
Falcon 1?
Who
Or is it
copied the
different?
Centaur?
Is that all the same Falcon 1 or is it different Falcon 1s?
I think it's different ones. I think it's different ones. The first one was the one that's on display at Hawthorne, to my understanding, and I could be wrong, please correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I thought that it was one of the production modules that would have been like the 6th or 7th flight of Falcon 1 if they kept going with it. And that other one, the horrible one, all covered in tinfoil, or at least it looks like it. I believe that one was one of the early prototypes, even before their first flight. I could be wrong about that, but that was my understanding of the two differences. I don't think they're the same one, but
Just like
I could be wrong.
low-hanging fruit flex post on for SpaceX. Here, I'll just give it to you. Put a Falcon 1 on the OLM and then have a drone shot where you scoot out maximum speed. How it started, how it's going. Little Falcon 1 full stack. Done. That's the ultimate flex ever in the aerospace industry.
I love that idea. That would be really cool. That would be really cool. And you guys actually showed off that photo of McGregor that had over 50 Raptors just lying out there on, not even in the parking lot, in the dirt next to the parking lot. And yes,
Yeah,
they're
shout out
all
to Gary.
dented and messed up, but
It's fine.
Need
It's
to keep
fine.
them somewhere.
it hurts my
High
soul to see
production
that.
rate solves all problems. It's fine.
If they need one, I got space. I got garage space for it.
Yeah.
So, or I'll take the nozzle and I'll turn it into like a cool like fire pit for the backyard.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I
Yeah,
would
I
like to
know.
pitch a contract to SpaceX. Let me turn all of those into barbecues and coffee tables and stuff like that to put all over Starbase, please.
The fire pit is the forward dome cap. The Raptor nozzle is hot tub. I've thought about this. I've thought about this.
We'll even take one of the dented ones, SpaceX, please, please. And I know they're just regular copper. I'll pay you fair price for it. At least the nozzle, anyway. Anyhow,
Isn't there's a company that makes, boardroom furniture out of aircraft, like engine nacelles and stuff. Like,
Yes.
it's SpaceX. It's so a distraction. But if you guys made that crazy expensive boardroom hardware out of junked Raptors, that'd be pretty cool.
we could have an auction. If you guys auction those off, it could be an extra little, something to, I don't know what it paid for. I know you're not struggling for money, but hey, extra source of income. You never know. The Raptor nozzle is up. There was actually a couple other comments before we move on that I wanted to go over, a handful that I had starred here. First one from Josh Simpson said that from the success of Flight 10, SpaceX has gained more stretch room for the next phase rollout. So I trust that the next set of requirements are met with making V3 primed above V2 plus actual payload. I would agree with that. I feel like that's a good assessment. And then from Aravel, I liked this where Aravel said, I think that after the last few flights, a lot of people were moving from the when Starship is successful camp to the if Starship is successful camp. And now the needle is firmly back to when Starship is successful. And yeah, I also very much agree with that. There's still going to be detractors. I mean, there's going to be people that are going to, no matter what you do, are always gonna hate this stuff for whatever their personal reasons are. But it's all good. It's all good. Handful more. Couple good questions here from Seb SN. Should the hind fins also be set a little higher from like the front fins? That I'm not so sure about. I feel like they needed to. I mean, they moved up the flaps on the front to help with all the reentry and still actually have them be useful. But as for the aft flaps, I don't know. I mean, I suppose you could change their shape in such a way that they would still be just as useful, especially after you've gotten through reentry plasma and are doing your coast through atmosphere before getting to the flip burn. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Look at what happened with the forward flaps. If you look at the older versions, the forward flaps were flat on the bottom of the flap itself. Currently, that's how the aft flaps are. They're flat on the bottom of the flap itself. So some sort of geometry change there, maybe a taper like we saw between Mark 1 or Block 1 and Block 2. That going back to more of a pointy kind of thing there, and then moving them up the barrel a little bit. Same deal, where they get the benefit of the fuselage itself protecting them. Totally can see that happening. When? Who knows?
Yeah.
Not Block 3.
Yeah. Maybe Block 4, or unless there's an absolutely hardcore reason to do so immediately. But otherwise, yeah, not right away.
The burn through we saw this flight was definitely, well, I can't say this for certain because I'm not SpaceX and I don't have all the data they have, but it looks like there was visibly some damage to that area of the flap before it got to re-entry. It's just re-entry kind of exemplified it and made it glow orange, which is when it caught our attention, So that definitely seems to be, maybe that energetic event in the engine bay also had something to do with it, right? So there's a few things which could have caused the flaps to end up in that state that are not, the root cause of which is not the design / placement of the flaps, right? It's something else causing a heat shield tile to fall off, and then your steel gets compromised, right? So
yeah.
I will say I heard rumors, and I have not had a chance to look at any pre-launch photos, that the aft flaps bottom corner join to the body of the ship had an intentional tile removal at that hotspot. It was one of their worst case failure scenarios, that they had removed tiles to stimulate.
Would that have been port or starboard? I'm opening Lightroom.
I'm guessing maybe even both.
I think I'm trying to remember the stream in my head. So the flap was like that. We were looking at the flap, so the flap was here, the burn through was here, so the ship nose cone was there. So if the ship was this way, then it would have been that flap. So looking at the steel side, bottom right.
From
whatever
the
side
nose.
that is.
Looking from the nose down.
No, look. Imagine
Well,
a
here we-
vertical ship, right? We're looking at the ship together. We're looking at the ship. We're seeing the steel side, right? And then it's that flap there. Looking at the
Got
steel
it.
side, that flap.
Ryan, you were remarkably good at that. Like, that was fantastic. You got our attention by being like, that was really good. Hang on, I'm
Yeah.
looking at Lightroom. Nobody talk to me.
Okay.
I can't imagine here who might have 10,000 photos of a Starship sitting on his laptop. Is there anybody in the stream like that?
This is just beautiful to see it happening in real time. Usually it's just one of those things like you get the forum post or something for it. But no, now we're all sitting here just,
Yeah, I don't know if we want to see Jack's screen right now, because there's going to be folders within folders
Can I
within
send
folders.
somebody? Can I
Unless
send
you're
somebody a file?
Yeah.
How? Okay.
Yeah, if you DM it to me on Discord, I'll forward it to the right place.
Fortunately, Jack and Ryan have communication channels available.
And I'm not going to listen to Bad Idea Friend.
Speaking of bad idea, friend, there was just a handful of comments I wanted to get through before we move on and bring Jamie back for something that she can talk about. I did want to show this comment from Me Huggy. Scott Manley says that the orange tiles could be from transpiration cooling using methane. I had the same sort of thought initially that it had something to do with the actively cooled tiles, but Elon dispelled that, saying that no, the orange is from the metallic and the white is from the insulation where there was no heat shield tiles. Unless he's trying to throw us off so that we don't ask too many questions about those actively cooled tiles. I don't know.
Actively cooled, I believe, are metallic.
Okay. So what's the active
So
cooling part? Because I've always
the actively cooled tile is a type of metallic tile.
Right. So it's a metallic tile that has a fluid circulating through behind whatever it, as opposed to a ceramic tile.
so
Elon may have been stingy with the data. Yes, it was a metallic tile. Was it a regular metallic tile or a special metallic tile?
Okay. I hadn't considered that it could be the same
Yeah.
thing, because I knew that they
I
were
don't know.
testing out some different materials and that the actively cooled tiles. But in my head, I had that as two separate experiments and not the same thing. So
All right, so I sent Ryan 2 photos. Turns out I'm a bozo, and when when it rolled for launch and stack, I focused on the QD because the QD often has nice little labels on it and whatnot. The QD in the door, so I don't have a really good 5 feet away, 500 millimeter shot of the join from the shiny side. But Ryan, I did send you one that's really close up from the tile side, and there is a missing tile right there.
Well, there you go.
I think let's time it and see how. There we go.
Enhance.
Not that. Yeah, so that's the closest I have of
Enhance.
shiny side. That's why I'm a bozo. But the other one shows the removed tiles near the aft flap join, specifically the flap we're talking about. But yeah, unfortunately, that's not more zoomed in because I was also operating a video camera, and also the zoomed in shots from this angle are again focused on that QD and the door and the vents. I didn't look at the join. I should have. But the tile one, show the other one. Show the other one. That's the one that shows the goods.
stand by.
Sorry, I'm backseat producing TMRO. I'm the literal worst person ever.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Somebody's got to do it here. So
All I like is having a dream.
Dreaming of space, dreaming of starships.
But yeah, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to comb through a bunch more photos and probably throw them on L2. But yeah, that's for later.
Here.
it's a good.
So now that we've given you that data, you can add that to the next NSF update.
Let's stop.
This one. This is the other one you
There
were
we
talking
go.
about.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Enhance.
the from this perspective, it's now the left tile. But if I don't know, it's like if you can zoom in.
Sorry, that's me doing this one.
Oh, go on, Mike.
You can see there's a missing
There we
tile on the left flap and the hinge area, and like this. That looks pretty. This bottom one down here. That looks pretty close to the area. Looks pretty close. I don't know.
Huh.
There's also some curved tiles there that maybe we can't see missing because of the angle, or maybe that's what that little black line is. I'm not sure. Pure speculation.
There's also that one orange cemented tile versus the gap fillered ones right before the hinge.
Right.
On the very very bottom edge of the flap.
Yeah, what is that orange? Is that RTV?
Yeah, should be. Their favorite RTV that gets everywhere.
Interesting. Well, guys, while all this was going on with Starship and a couple other awesome achievements that SpaceX made
Yeah.
this week, Rocket Lab quietly did a ribbon cutting ceremony at Wallops, where they have their third Launch Complex 3. And basically, all of their pad construction is complete. They still need a vehicle assembly building. It looks like there's mainly a tent there right now for that purpose. So there's still a little bit more work to do. But yes, the launch pad is complete and is ready to start doing static fire tests and potentially launches. So that's great. But to me, the big news was that they all but confirmed that they're planning on doing human spaceflight someday from Wallops and have full support of the different regulatory authorities and the military. And holy crap, Rocket Lab is working on human transport. And I know that there hasn't been much yet. The only thing that they've given us a couple of years ago was their not a capsule, but we're looking into it. But Neutron might become Crewtron someday, and I'm really excited about that.
Oh my God, Crewtron. That's amazing. Did you come up with that, or is that an internet thing?
No, I stole that from the internet.
Oh, well done, internet. Well done. I love that.
I mean, you can go to, I think, the 2018 interview on this very channel with Peter Beck, right? The 4 big Peter Beck things he will never do. He'll never do reusability. They've done reusability. Never do big rocket. They've done big rocket. What was the other thing?
Never do meat sacks. Never do meat bags.
There was something before never doing humans, though. I can't remember. But there was something else which they've also now done. And he said they were never going to do crew. The only thing left out of the things he said, marine assets suck. They're doing marine assets, and then crew flights, right? So they've done reusability. They're making a big rocket. They're investing in marine assets. The only thing left that Peter Beck said they won't do, that they haven't done yet, is crewed flight. I mean, it's kind of everything Peter has said that they won't do, they're now going to do. So, I mean, it's only natural for them to now, be teasing human spaceflight, right? What else did you guys expect? This is how this company operates. We're never going to do that, and then 3 years later they do it.
I do appreciate that they're willing to change course when they find better data, right? Like a lot of companies would commit to that, and then that's it. Whereas Peter Beck, I mean, he literally ate his hat, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was also what a great sense of humor. I thought that was fantastic. So I just appreciate that they're willing to change course.
Did it happen in After Dark for that episode where a $20 bill was exchanged because of a bet that had happened? So if y'all go back and rewatch that episode and the After Dark of it, we had some really funny stuff with Peter about the why do you guys always end up doing what you say you're not gonna? It was really silly,
funny,
but also it was a great discussion because, like you said, Jamie, it really gave a lot of insight into how Peter thinks and how he operates his companies. And holy smokes, what great leadership there is to steer to a different course on your ship when the conditions call for it. So
now that you literally have ships. So I'm pretty sure, I don't remember the exact bet, but we definitely gave, we were like, okay, we lost this bet, here's $20. And I'm pretty sure they framed that $20 somewhere at Rocket Lab. But I think now, technically, we have actually won the bet, because I think it was one of those things they said they weren't going to do. And so, Peter Beck, if you're watching, I would like my $20 back, please. Thank you.
Is that why he hasn't responded? Because I've been trying so hard to get him back on the show.
He doesn't want to give us our $20 back. Absolutely. That's exactly what it is.
Now I know.
He knows I'm coming after him for that $20.
Now I realize.
I do appreciate being able to switch gears. And I don't know if it's an apocryphal Steve Jobs quote, but of course, who knows? But strong opinions held loosely. There's nothing wrong with that. And I also reminded of, hey, Starship was going to be carbon fiber at one point, and shifted gears, right? Nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
And then there's smart reuse.
I'm going to go on a tirade on smart reuse. It's the dumbest. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. I love Tori Bruno. I think he is an amazing advocate for space. But smart reuse is probably the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
But it made such great quotes 10 years later.
Yeah. Oh my God.
The best thing
Whatever.
about smart reuse is the name, because
Yeah.
it's really dumb.
They're not even
Yeah.
working on it. They're not even working on it. They have so much work to do if they actually want to try to attempt doing that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
maybe they
you
will.
know,
I'm never gonna say never. Like, Vulcan's a cool vehicle. I think it's a machine I want to point my cameras at. And if the engine
Yeah.
section can pop off and be reused, hey, doesn't seem like it's like a flip phone in the smartphone era.
Every
Yeah.
company that's tried helicopter reuse has immediately stopped helicopter reuse. 100% of the companies, of the aerospace companies that have tried this, have all said, this is dumb, we're moving to propulsive. So, like, hear me out. It's dumb, just move to propulsive reuse.
Can we say accurately that the only people who have consistently done parachute recovery is the National Reconnaissance Office with their
I don't know.
their
Is that
gam-
even
with their-
consistent? Because they would
And
miss a
only-
bucket every now and then.
because
And-
the Gambit and the Hexagon spy satellites, they take their imagery and then deploy these pods that would drop in, and then a C-130 would go out and grab the parachute, and it often missed it. And then you'd get these like pods that were basically designed so that when they touched water, they just blew themselves and sunk to the bottom automatically.
And we're talking tiny pods compared to
Yeah.
anything you want to reuse out of a rocket.
Yep.
yeah.
But then,
Good times.
so I thought I saw some footage of them opening up, what is it? Is it Launch Complex 3? Is it Slick 3 or LC3? I don't know if it's LC or
LC3.
Slick.
Well, Rocket Lab calls it LC3. The Virginia Spaceport Authority call it Launchpad 0D. So everyone has a different name for this pad. If you want to, Jamie, you can call it Slick 3 and it will be equally as correct as all the other names people have for this.
I love that. We're going to make up our own naming convention. But, okay, somewhere in here, they have their rainbirds go off, like, during the ribbon uncutting ceremony. Okay, cool. There's the giant water tower that's probably driving the rainbirds. Why all that water? I didn't understand that. Like, why did they
not?
have the rainbirds go off? Because, like, I'm sure it made everyone wet. It does look cool.
The fun part.
So what?
It was
Okay.
a hot day.
Maybe. Oh yeah, right here.
here we
Watch.
go.
They're doing this, and then like, look, like they just open up the rainbirds at like full blast. Anywhere in here. Come on now, don't make me look a fool. All right, well maybe not. There we go. Like, come on now. Look at that. I mean, it is epic. I gotta give them points. That looks amazing.
What's not to like? It's amazing. We're all talking about it.
Oh, look, they're getting wet. Oh, they are soaked.
Yeah, but right, look at that. Right, like they just drenched everyone.
I must
Right,
say,
like-
this is as refreshing as a mint julep on this hot day.
All right. I was wondering if there was like a reason for them to do that, other than like, I mean, it did look cool, but like they
did be
drenched
cool.
everyone.
I don't know if
Yeah,
they actually did
well,
though, because he even
so
had to
what?
tap the governor on the shoulder and be like, "Sir, if you'll turn around and look behind you, you'll see the water deluge system going off."
Like, how could you not miss the rainbirds going off? It's not exactly a quiet event.
Well, you know,
It had to have been intentional. It had to have been intentional, and it's just that classic like
yeah.
Rocket Lab.
Why do you
New
think
Zealand
Peter Beck
humor.
had a big red
It's all-
button? He's
they
literally
do
holding a big red button that he pressed.
Red
and then
dress
the deluge-
rehearsal.
I'm not,
Guys,
I'm not saying it
there's
wasn't intentional.
still-
It's obviously intentional. That's what I'm asking. Is like, what was the intent? Like, why did they drench everyone
It's
in
just
the
how
audience?
Rocket Lab is. They're silly. They're funny. They still do silly names for their rocket launches. They're launching payloads for clandestine governments, and they're calling it like, can't see this one again, things like that. Like seriously, they're just a company that has fun, and they don't care what other people think about it. They just do it, and that feels very like right in line with the levity that they have, and like, who doesn't want that? What a bunch of jokers. But
Hey,
in the
not
good
complaining.
sense.
I'm just pointing out, like, there wasn't a dry eye in the house.
real men don't look at rainbirds. Is that like walking away from an explosion?
Explosion, yeah.
Badass.
I'm excited for them to do humans. I do think they'll do
Yeah.
it. I don't know when. I don't know what that looks like. Humans are hard. Giant, ugly bags of mostly water are very difficult to transport into space.
I was wondering, like, what kind of market are they going to target? Because maybe they might go after, like, an international kind of market. Like, you know, because, like, thinking about it, SpaceX has a lot of the government stuff with NASA contracts and things like that. And there's an occasional international flight, but it's usually because a group has worked with NASA specifically in order to get a seat. But, you know, just thinking about, like, where's that market come post International Space Station? Like, what exactly are we going to be looking for? And it seems like it's going to be very much like international, you know, countries that are going to want to launch individuals of their own to, like, private space stations or even just on flights of the capsule solo. So that's kind of what I was wondering about, which is, like, who exactly is a crew-rated Rocket Lab vehicle for? And I can't think of anyone right off the top of my head.
Honestly, I think it's all of the above. I think that it's international customers. I think that it's those private space stations, especially if SpaceX does retire the Dragon sooner than all of us hope. I mean, I hope that Dragon keeps flying for another 10, 15, 20 years, but it's okay to have another vehicle. It's assured access to space, not just for America, but for everyone. And I mean, you know, so far all we've gotten is just, you know, this one, you know, not a capsule, but idea. And I mean, it's obviously would fit really nicely on top of Neutron. So, you know, I think that there's. Go ahead.
Looks like the vehicle from Star Tours a little bit.
A little bit, maybe a little bit, maybe a little bit.
Bye-bye.
It's not a part of my programming.
Let's be real, though. I mean, Boeing isn't going to get it together with Starliner, and even if they do, it's going to be way too expensive for private astronaut missions, and it just doesn't make sense. So, I think that if Rocket Lab can actually do this, pull it off, and it's reasonable, at least cheaper than Starliner, they've got a business case.
Wait, how is it not cheaper than Starliner?
You'd have to ask Rocket Lab. I have no idea what their costs are.
This might be a deeper conversation, but do we think Boeing is going to keep their space division? It feels like they're going to put all their focus into their airplanes. Maybe that's incorrect, but airplanes and military. And it feels like, I have no data, but it feels like they're kind of like pulling out of space. Maybe they'll continue their ISS stuff, because what a lot of people don't realize is Boeing runs a good chunk of the International Space Station at Johnson Space Center, right? Yeah, there are a few people from NASA. I mean, NASA does too, but like there's a huge Boeing presence there, and I'm sure they get a boatload of money for that. So I doubt that will go away. But once the space station gets deorbited, do you actually see Boeing continuing in space, or do you see them going, nope, if it's not cost plus, we don't want it?
X-37B.
I do, but
definitely them. I mean, they've already been trying to sell their space business, and NASA has been giving them, they label it all sorts of things, but mission assurance, mission continuation payments, which I consider bribes to essentially don't stop the freaking program. So much freaking money for them to just not give up. And why NASA is fighting for that, I don't know. But if Boeing truly does give up and doesn't honor their commitments for the contracts and money they've already been given, I personally, as a taxpayer, would like my money back.
Well, hold on. Space Mike, we can go into that. I
still.
mean, let's go into, what was it, schedule assurance for Starliner. Like, they got how many extra billions of dollars?
2.5.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I'll stop here. I'm obviously biased, so I'll stop here.
Well, I mean, they're trying to split ULA back up into two companies and get rid of their piece there and get Lockheed to buy the whole thing. So maybe Lockheed Martin buys all of Boeing's space ops.
I thought Lockheed Martin told them to go pound sand on that front.
Well, it depends on the price.
Yeah.
I'm
I don't
not
think-
sure. I don't know. I'm not sure that's. I don't know if splitting up ULA is good. It might actually be good. I would, because again, I'm a big Tory Bruno fan. So if Tory remains in control of whatever the new ULA would be, and he's no longer
Well,
beholden to his parent companies and can build and do whatever he wants, I mean, I don't know. That might be good.
important to realize from United Launch Alliance which legacy vehicle is still flying today. So which one has had the longevity in terms of actually continuing to fly payloads today, and it's not the one from Boeing. So
Yeah.
the Atlas is a Lockheed product.
How many
Delta
Atlases
4
are
was
left,
a Boeing
though?
product.
Like
Enough.
10.
Yeah,
No.
but the
They're all Kuiper launches, but
But hang, I don't think
Well-
that's fair. The Delta 4, the Delta 4 did not rely on. How do I word this nicely? They made their own engines, right?
At great expense.
Yeah, whatever, whatever. I'm just saying, like, the Atlas is riddled with political problems, not technical ones,
Oh, yes.
political ones. Yeah.
Yes, and that was a conscious choice made at the end of the Cold War. So
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's not their fault.
So-
Like, they were forced
Yeah.
into that. 100%. 100%.
yeah,
You know what the messed up part about it is too? This entire time that we've had this whole political problem with Atlas V and the RD-180 engine, this entire time, we had a license to build the engine here in the United States. We had a license from Roscosmos and Energomash to be able to do that. I believe it has since expired now, like it recently expired. But this entire time, we could have been manufacturing them in the United States, and they chose not to because it was too expensive to
Wasn't there like
set
a
up the
pilot?
factory and everything else.
Wasn't there like a pilot program to do it? But they never actually did it, or maybe there wasn't. I remember that.
It was
That's-
through that I believe that's how the license came about, is because they were studying the idea, seeing if it was feasible, and got all the permissions, got all the blueprints. Like, there's an office in L3 Harris Aerojet that has all of the blueprints for the RD-180 engine. We know how to manufacture it. Like, I want to get my hands on that just for the turbopump data, for crying out loud.
Do not underestimate how complicated rocket engines are to build, even if you have the instructions.
True.
Yeah, especially I guess
Also,
True.
Russia
who's
is
to
known
say
for
that they
having-
gave us the correct instructions?
True.
even if they did,
Hmm.
you give me a set of instructions and not the people that actually machined it and built it, the instructions aren't going to build an engine.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yeah. You need.
You
Go ahead,
need the
Ryan.
magic sauce of the people.
I was just going to say, I think this is a fantastic realization that if you give someone the instructions, they can't necessarily build it. So we should just scrap ITAR, completely useless. Let's just share photos of inside all of the factories, right? I would love to look at some, not even kidding. I would love to look at some blueprints. So, I mean, gimme. If I can have it, please. Can I see? Please?
This is now. I'm now realizing that everything I said was wrong and is a bad idea. So,
I mean, aside from what we talked about, I was really excited this week to see that Gaganyaan has made a little bit of progress. They did a full-up parachute test from 3 kilometers of the actual vehicle, not just a dummy weight. And it's looking like that is going to be on track for their next step, which is an uncrewed flight test. There's a chance that could happen by the end of this year, which probably means that it's going to be early next year, but it's coming, and I am looking forward to it because after just a handful of uncrewed test flights, they'll have joined the club of nations that are capable of launching people into space. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for India, and I'm also excited for Japan. Their HTVX vehicle, their new cargo vehicle, finally has a launch date. And right now it's no earlier than October 21st. So I'm really excited for that. And if everything goes well for that, not only could that service the International Space Station for a handful of years, but also service the Starlab Space Station, which JAXA and mainly Mitsubishi Heavy Industries have put a lot of investment in. And it can also service the Gateway Space Station if we get that going. So A lot of cool things that are happening around the world that I'm excited about. Just small updates for now, but soon we'll have some more exciting things to talk about with them. Aside from that, I mean, was there anything else that anyone else wanted to discuss? I believe that Ryan...
Absolutely nothing happened here. Absolutely nothing happened. Nothing to talk about. Thanks all for watching, and we'll see you next week.
He doesn't want to talk about it. It's a depressing time. Nothing happened. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Nothing happened.
Nothing happened to the UK Space Agency. It's all good. It's all good. Totally fine.
I don't think the words UK Space Agency and all good have ever been used together in one sentence before today.
Or UK Space Agency in action?
That still has never been used in one sentence.
Oh my goodness.
No, Ryan, what happened? Come on. We're not letting you go until you tell us what happened.
Basically, the UK Space Agency, which, in the nicest way possible, isn't really a space agency. Like, the government, when it was made, I think in 2010, the government called it the UK Space Agency and then assigned it a bunch of tasks that have nothing to do with being a space agency. TLDR, that's what happened, right? So the UK Space Agency wasn't really given the resources or the manifesto or the action plan to be a space agency and do cool space things. Like, you think space agency, you think NASA, you think doing awesome missions in space. UK Space Agency didn't really do any of that. They were more a public outreach PR program for the space side of the UK government, right? I can't remember how many days ago it was because Starship, time dilation, all of that good stuff. Basically, the government is going to absorb the UK Space Agency into itself, and it's going to be under basically the Department of Science. So theoretically, that's going to be really good because it can talk to the government easier because there's less barriers and less bureaucracy and all of that stuff, right? Which we love here in Europe. Apparently, the brand is going to be sticking around as well, so they're going to get rid of the UK Space Agency while keeping the logo because they like the logo apparently. So yeah, basically nothing is really changing, but yeah, we keep going around in circles. Stuff isn't really changing. Apparently, this is going to make it less bureaucratic. But it's
Ryan,
not.
I have bad news. You're not actually going around in circles because that would indicate you made orbit, which you have not done. So,
well,
saying.
There is circling the drain.
Oh, I got it. If it makes you feel any better, Ryan, we're about to turn NASA into the Transportation Administration, so. All right, on that note, I'd like to thank everyone so much for watching and all of the people who contribute to the shows of tomorrow. You're the ones who help make this show happen week after week, month after month, year after year. If you can't tell, we're over time, and so I'm rushing through this to get this thing done. Everyone whose name's in yellow, you've either resubscribed or become a new member to that particular level. Thank you so much for your support of the show. There are different levels, so you can get, if you are system support or above, you will actually have access into our After Dark show, which we will be stepping into here shortly. Dave Avery, as per usual, you are amazing, contributing 5... as you're on the air, contributing 5 memberships. Thank you so much. And contributing absinthe to one of my nights. It was great. And again, thank you everyone for helping me make this happen. And with all of your contributions, we've manually moved Dave Avery over to the Escape Velocity group. And of course, join us for After Dark. Jack and Dave, I hope you both will join us in After Dark if you can, if you're not doing anything. And before we go, I did want to say, Jack, that headboard is absolutely epic. I don't know what's going on. I just want to let you know that headboard, epic.
I will not elaborate further.
Great. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next week.